The less you can make sobriety about quitting drugs, the better off you're going to be, the more pleasurable and easier of an experience you're going to have when it comes to attaining sobriety. And I say this as someone who struggled deeply with substance use to nicotine, cannabis, stimulants, binge drinking, and adult media content for several years of my life. And I also say this as a professional addiction recovery coach who has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of other individuals overcome various substance use disorders. The less you can make quitting drugs about drugs, the better off and the more pleasurable experience you are going to have going into your sobriety journey. And that's exactly what we're going to set up for you in today's video. If you're new here, my name's Dr. Frank, and we have a science-backed method that has a 98% client success rate at helping people quit nicotine and cannabis in as little as 48 hours. We can do this privately without disrupting your public life and public image, and we can do it without relapse. This method is designed specifically for high-level professionals and high-performance individuals. I put a link in the video description in the pinned comment where you can learn more. Now, I have done this countless times with people like this individual here, who we recently helped quit smoking weed after just a single conversation, or like we did for this individual here, who's successfully now on his way to a happy engagement with his significant other and just absolutely crushing it in his law practice. I have seen this work time and time again, but if you get it wrong, it's going to create for a very painful experience when it comes to quitting drinking alcohol, quitting smoking weed, quitting, smoking cigarettes, whatever it may be. For me, being the type of person I am, the idea of getting sober just for the sake of getting sober, just for the sake of not consuming a drug, was relatively pointless. Yes, I could see my health may be improving. Yes, I could see my finances may be improving. But the idea of stopping smoking weed just for the sake of being able to say, I don't smoke weed. The idea of not drinking alcohol just for the sake of being able to say, no, thank you. I don't want to have a drink tonight with dinner. Just didn't get my juices flowing. It was not very exciting for me. That didn't produce any dopamine. If anything, that mentality actually put me in a position where I felt like I was punishing myself. It put me in a position where I was feeling deprivation, like I was depriving myself of something. And time again, I would try and quit substances. And because I made quitting drugs all about quitting drugs, I felt that I was punishing myself and depriving myself of something that at that time I had thought that I actually wanted to continue consuming. I'll give you another example of kind of where I was at in that headspace, that flawed mindset. It's like if I had a cell phone here, as I do, and I told you, okay, this phone is right here, but don't look at the phone, don't look at the text messages, just don't think about the phone. What are you going to think about? You're going to think about the phone. You're going to think about what text messages are coming through, what's happening. It's the same idea if there was a big pink elephant standing in the room and I said to you, okay, don't focus on the pink elephant. Don't think about the elephant. What would you inherently think about? You'd be thinking about the pink elephant standing in the middle of the room. It's the same concept when it comes to quitting drugs. When places tell you, don't think about alcohol, don't think about weed, you can't have that stuff. What do? You inherently want more of it. I very much think of it as like my 2-year-old son at home. I tell him hey, don't touch the TV remote. And what's he do? He wants the TV remote tenfold. He wants to play with it 10 times over again. It's human psychology to think this way. So, how do we reverse this? The question that we have to ask ourselves is, what is the true value in getting sober? What is it that I could actually focus on that could get me excited, that it would benefit me to put my attention into? And the answer isn't just not doing drugs for the sake of not doing drugs. You need to question, who is the person that I have to become, and what character traits does that individual need to develop in order to achieve and maintain sobriety? Now, this is something that you actually might be able to get excited about. And before I embellish on this, I want to give you another example. I've heard the quote before, don't make $1 million just for the sake of making $1 million. But try and make $1 million because of the person that you have to become in order to achieve generating $1 million. Don't go become a pro athlete just for the sake of becoming a pro athlete. Who is the person that you need to become in order to achieve a pro athletics level? Don't go run a marathon just for the sake of saying, I ran a marathon. Who is the person that you need to become? What type of training do you need to do? What type of discipline do you need to have? What type of systems and regimens do you need to set up in place? What type of practice do you need to put forth in order to successfully run a marathon? It's the preparation. It's the going through the experience. That's where the actual value in the thing is. Making $1 million and having $1 million is great. But if you just win the lotto, most people who do that, they blow through the money, they take nothing away from the experience, and before you know it, they're broke again. But the person who grinds and hustles to make $1 million in their business, in their career, they're the attorney, they're the realtor, they're the entrepreneur, the business owner, they developed super beneficial character traits in order to achieve that. And it's those character traits that are almost more valuable than the $1 million itself. I hope this is making sense because I'm going to relate this over to sobriety now. When I thought about getting sober, as I said earlier, the idea of just quitting drugs was unexciting to me, and if anything, it sounded like a deprivation thing. But when I thought about, well, what's it going to require of me to get through the withdrawals? What type of person is it going to require of me to be able to comfortably say no during social situations? And look, I'm not talking about, back when I was in high school and someone's offering me a joint. I'm talking about like when you're at a business dinner with people and everyone's drinking and you're deciding not to drink. I'm talking about when you're out socially for the holidays coming up and everyone's smoking weed and someone just casually offers it to you and is like, hey, it's no big deal, just smoke with us. It's just weed. And you're thinking to yourself, no, I quit. What type of person do I have to be to willingly say no, confidently say no in those various different scenarios? What type of character traits am I going to need to get through the withdrawal and still show up at work, still show up for my family, still show up for my wife and the kids? These are all the things that started to excite me. As someone who's interested in learning, as someone who is interested in values, self-development, I started to view sobriety as a discipline that I could practice. And that's exactly how I approached it. Quitting weed for me, quitting alcohol, quitting nicotine, it wasn't about stopping a drug. It became all about what is the type of individual it will require me to become in order to successfully do this. What opportunities do I have to develop specific character traits in order to achieve and maintain sobriety? And what could I potentially do with those character traits after I develop them? This is how we remove the scenario of don't focus on weed, but come to an MA meeting or an AA meeting and all we're going to talk about is weed and alcohol, right? Don't think about the pink elephant in the room, but by the way, we're going to talk about nothing but the pink elephant in the room. This is why these group settings and things like that have such astronomically high failure rates, around a 90% failure rate long term for people when it comes to sobriety, because they're focusing on the thing that we least want to be focusing on. They're focusing on something that you no longer care about anymore. And we're not being future oriented. We're not being future focused. And this is a massive problem. So in sobriety, when I quit smoking weed, when I quit nicotine, when I quit adult media content, yes, I experienced withdrawal symptoms. But getting through withdrawal required a certain amount of grit. It certainly required a certain amount of courage, taking action in spite of fear. It certainly required a certain amount of confidence. Now here I am, I just quit weed, I just quit alcohol. I'm out at networking events with business partners, I'm out at other things like that. They're offering me alcohol, they're offering me cannabis. You have to be a confident individual in yourself to decline that, because people are going to question it. People are going to look at you like, why don't you drink? Just have a smoke. You have to have confidence. And practicing the discipline of sobriety is a way to restore confidence. Confidence being one of the things that's often mostly damaged when it comes to substance use, especially if you found yourself in a situation where you said, I'm going to quit today and then you fail. I'm going to quit tomorrow and then you fail. You say that time and time again, you keep going back on your word, and eventually that erodes away at your confidence. And that creates an erosion that can start to creep into other aspects of your life, into your relationships, into your business, into your finances, into your mental health, and into your physical health. But sobriety is the opposite of that. It's an opportunity to rebuild that confidence. It's an opportunity to develop that muscle of discipline. It's an opportunity to develop that character trait of grit and tenacity and all these wonderful things. So now, instead of viewing sobriety as this place of punishment and deprivation and the removal of a drug that I don't even care about anymore, I'm viewing it as an opportunity to develop all these incredible things. And that's exactly what I did. You can then develop these character traits through practicing sobriety, and you can apply them to your career performance. You can apply them to your relationships. You can apply them to your mental health, to your physical health, to your parenting skills. These are character traits that I probably never would have developed otherwise if I hadn't gone through the experience of addiction and then the experience of getting sober. But it's all about framing. It's all about how you go into this. Because a lot of people watching this are going to go into sobriety all about, I can't smoke weed, I can't drink alcohol, and that's what this is all about. My goal is just to get sober. When there are so many other opportunities that you could be taking advantage of because of this single decision that you're making to quit. Now, as someone who's always wanted more, as someone who's always had a pretty high threshold when it comes to getting excited, this to me was that switch. This was something I could get excited about. Oh, I have a real opportunity here to practice self-development in real time, in real life, despite whatever circumstances I have going on. That to me was 1,000 times more exciting than the idea of not smoking weed or not drinking alcohol. Now, if you like this, again, we have a science-backed method that has a 98% client success rate at helping people quit nicotine and cannabis in as little as 48 hours. We can do this privately without public meetings, without having to go admit shame publicly in some group setting, and we can do it in real time in real life. This method is again specifically for high-level professionals, investors, realtors, physicians, attorneys, entrepreneurs, business owners. I put a link in the pinned comment in the video description for you. Now lastly, I want you to pause and really ask yourself the question, who is the person that I am trying to become in life? In general, what type of parent are you trying to be? What type of business owner are you trying to be? What are you trying to have your body look like physically? What are you trying to attain when it comes to your mental health? What do you want your faith relationships to look like, if that's a thing for you? Like, who is the person that you want to be? And how can practicing the discipline of sobriety move you closer to becoming that individual? Addiction and substance use is an investment of your time, your health, and your energy that has no positive net returns. Sobriety, though, this is a practice, this is a discipline that can have endless net returns. And honestly, I'd say it even pays in dividends in other aspects of your life. So if that's something that excites you and this video has you fired up, why don't you follow me right into the next video where I expand on this topic a little bit more, talking about the character traits that I've seen people develop when it comes to quitting substances. I'll see you guys there.